Welcome back to State of Decay 2 Heartland. I have just started a brand new game of Heartland with Larice and Fiona. Though we've had some discussion going on in the chat about people's favorite characters to play with. Larice and Fiona are one of the options. The other one is Quincy and Helena. And folks in the chat, some of them are saying that their favorite is actually Quincy and Helena. I think one person said that they really liked the fact that Quincy was... it was Quintarius. Said that they liked that Quincy is a weaponsmith, which is something that he wanted to be in State of Decay 2 for a while. And also, he's named Quincy, and Quintarius Quincy shares a name with him. So that makes perfect sense. Brant, of course, says that he really likes to focus on sort of giving background on the network, which is what the story of Quincy and Helena is about. Whereas Larice and Fiona are much more about the story of the Wilkersons, which are basically kind of the two factions that exist here in this in this era of Trumbull Valley. In addition to, of course, Ecolab, who's here to investigate the plague. So yeah, I think that because honestly, kind of because Quincy and Helena are favorites for so many players, it's kind of one reason I wanted to play as Larice and Fiona, because I just kind of wanted to if you chose if you're one of the majority of players who chose Quincy and Helena, I would love for people to see what goes on with these two. So I think I'm gonna start out. Yeah, so a supply run. So Malik wants me to head over to the Santos farmhouse to search for meds. So let's go and do that. I do want to make sure that I'm keeping the larder full with all the stuff that we need. So it's a good place to begin here. I have actually, so because I worked on the side missions, the recruit missions, I actually don't have a lot of strong memories of. Am I going the right way? Close enough. I don't have a lot of really strong memories of the flow of the main story. So I'm actually going to be discovering a lot of this stuff because either there's aspects of this that I never play tested, and there's some parts of it that I play tested but only a little bit and forgot. So I'll be kind of discovering this for the first time, along with others of you who have never played Heartland. So this is going to be fun because I said this in the first episode. That I worked on the side missions here, and I did spot play testing, but I never actually played the full campaign front to back. So this is actually a first for me. Like 3.5 years after this came out, I'm actually getting around to properly playing it. So Scott Lannon says that he's noticed that there are some special unlockable moves that I use in this game, and some that I don't. Like, for instance, I use aim snap a lot, but I don't really use, the drop kick attack. And he's wondering if there's a reason for that, if it has any implications for the future of the franchise. So it doesn't... I would not say that it has a lot of implications for the future of the franchise, because while I am the lead systems designer on State of Decay 3, and sometimes a systems designer is in charge of things like, special combat moves and stuff like that. The way that we've arranged the team, I'll have some influence over that, but that's not my primary wheelhouse. We've got other folks whose primary focus is the moment-to-moment gameplay, and they're the ones who will be more responsible for what options the characters have when they're in the heat of combat. So whatever I feel about these moves, kind of it's not going to be the most relevant factor in how future games in the franchise develop, but one issue that the game has is the fact that a lot of those moves were developed very last minute. Yeah, so I just made a bunch of noise. It means zombies are going to come after me. Are they actually going to come after me though? It seems like maybe they're not. So I'm just going to keep searching. A lot of them were kind of an afterthought. We basically... Oh, hey, Shark Hoodie. Nice. We developed a lot of sort of the foundational bread and butter aspects of the game first. And we kind of... we had a little bit of a problem early on in State of Decay 2's development where the team was a little bit siloed. I was in charge of the skills, and I would try to coordinate with the people who were working on sort of the combat to sort of say, okay, what are the advantages of this skill? What are the advantages of that skill? But it was actually communication on the team was not handled all that well, and so we ended up not really getting a lot of opportunities to get onto the same page.
And I'm out.
Is a zombie sneaking up on me? Okay, I could hear something. And so it wasn't until we were getting right down to the wire and people were like, oh, holy crap, our skills don't do anything, that we kind of came back and was like, okay, well, we need to come up with some special moves that we can unlock with the skills. And so some of them were things we had built already that just could be, you know, associated with a skill. Some things were new. But we didn't have a huge budget for it, so we kind of... things like the assault kick, you know, I think we probably should have done something different for assault. The assault kick ended up being not the most useful ability in the world, but it was just what worked. You know, it was a thing that somebody could come up with and implement in the time that we had. And so it's kind of what we got. But I think if there's any implication... So basically... Oh, gosh, what the... I'm trying to dodge. Oh, wait, get off of me.
Looks like we got a bloater.
Okay, that guy summoned a bloater. I can see him on the mini-map. There he is. All right, so yeah, I guess the fact that you see me using some abilities and not others is an indicator of the fact that I don't think some of our abilities were just all that useful or all that interesting to pursue. And that's just a personal opinion, you know, and some of it sort of grows out of the fact that I had some frustrations with the way that that we operated early on. But from what I've seen so far, on the State of Decay 3 team, we're really aware of the problems that we ran into on State of Decay 2, and we're trying really hard to solve them. And one thing that I have found is that the gameplay team are really easy to work with. Like I actually have a really good relationship with that team, and I think that, you know, when we get to the point where we're making similar decisions to the ones that we made on State of Decay 2, and I'm not going to give you any details about that kind of process. But as we, you know, do, you know, early work in that zone, and as we, you know, eventually progress to, you know, someday finishing the game, I'm anticipating that it's going to go a lot better. And I think that a lot of the, you know, the combat moves are going to feel a little less tacked on, a little less last minute, and more integral to the experience, is my guess. Again, making zero specific promises about State of Decay 3, because we just, you know, we're still far away from the point where we're going to be sharing that kind of thing. I'm more speaking just in general terms about, you know, the problems you can run into when you're working on a video game. And all of our good intentions for trying to solve them.
Hey girl, you really are a Wilkerson. Get your ass over to our place.
Okay, so Nat wants to talk to me.
I need to know where I came from. I'm doing this. Nat, I'm on my way.
Okay then. Make sure you're ready to get into some trouble.
Okay, well, I've got a lot of crap in my car. So I think before I head over to the Wilkersons, I'm going to take this stuff home. And also, Larice is kind of plagued up a little bit. So let's see. Let's mark Jurassic Junction. There we go. Okay, yeah, so making sure Jurassic Junction is marked. We'll head that direction. Wrap up this supply run. Make sure we're in good shape. And then we'll go meet Nat. Orthouse wants to know if we ever thought about remastering Heartland. So Heartland, it would be tough to go back and mess with Heartland. Here and there we have, like when we made fundamental changes to the way the combat system works. Like, you know, when we added, for instance, the Y button to execute zombies, which it's easy for me to forget that was a recent addition. That was something we added with Juggernaut. That it was actually a corded input with the right trigger, and I think was it the X button, or I forgot which button it was, but it was a corded input for a long time. It wasn't on a single button. It wasn't this like contextual interaction when the game first shipped. That's kind of, it's weird for me to remember that. But yeah, when we made big fundamental changes to the way the game works like that, we did go and make sure we updated Heartland. But one part of Heartland that would be really hard to mess with would be the storytelling, the missions, because State of Decay 2 was designed to give you just random missions, and in an arbitrary order, and so we didn't have a system that was made it easy to, for instance, jump to the middle of a story and test a mission that's like the 19th mission in a long mission line. That was just not a thing in our existing system. So to make Heartland work, to make it testable, so you didn't have to like cheat your way through 7 missions in order to test the 8th mission, so you could jump around in the storyline because it felt like it had a linear storyline. We had to completely retool the mission system and come up with a bunch of new tools that we used for Heartland and then didn't use ever again. And so now, the mission designers who worked on Heartland, which included, me and a couple of other people, none of us are working on State of Decay 2 anymore. And in fact, I was the one who, like, my missions were the sort of the missions that worked the most like the original game. The recruit missions used much more sort of familiar, a much more familiar like scripting system basically. And as a result of that, I don't really know how Heartland worked. None of the newly hired or more recently hired mission designers know how Heartland worked. And also the programmers who designed the tools also no longer work on State of Decay 2 and are no longer at the company. So nobody knows how Heartland works behind the scenes. And this is always a danger that you face when you're developing a game over a long period of time. Is that, there's just always a decent chance that there's going to be stuff that people just know how to do, that when somebody leaves the company, moves on, which is a perfectly natural thing for, people just, they move around in their careers, and it's fine. But when they move on, you're stuck with, that knowledge being gone. So yeah, I mean, we could figure it out, but man, it would be a nightmare to try to delve back into Heartland and start messing with it again. So I don't anticipate us trying to do that. But that's fine, because I think there are more stories to tell. In State of Decay 3, which again, I'm going to give you zero specific information on this, we've got lots of room to do new things, take the world to new places, just rehashing the exact same content again and again. While it can be fun for nostalgia's sake, it's not necessarily the most creatively satisfying for the creators of the game, and it's also not necessarily the most exciting for general players at large. I think people, when people go for a sequel, they want this complicated thing. They want an experience that feels familiar, that at least is as good as the previous thing in very similar ways. But they don't want it to be the exact same game, and if it is the exact same game and it's only nostalgia, they very quickly tire of it and get disappointed. And so you always have to kind of, you're trying to provide something that's familiar and different at the same time, and getting the exact right mix of that is a challenge. So I think remastering Heartland, at least anytime soon, would be it would be too far down one of those, like walking that tightrope that I'm talking about. It'd be leaning too far in one direction. We would probably want to do something a little different from that. But again, I'm not going to go any further than that as far as what I'll say about the future. Or sorry, I'm not going to be able to give you any specific information about how State of Decay 3 is going to work, partly just because there's just so many unknowns. Like, I don't really know how everything about State of Decay 3 is going to work. And even things that I think I know now, you playtest the heck out of a game and then you make changes. And so even if I thought I knew something now, it could be completely different by the time game actually comes out. So yeah, this is way too early for me to try to answer questions like that. And I think honestly, even though I know that you want little tidbits, you want a sense of the future of like what this game could become, what this franchise could become in the future. Where is that coming from? There it is.
Gotta kill that screamer.
Dang it. Well, this isn't going that well for me.
Heavy.
Whew. All right. Anyway. So yeah, I think that if I did try to give you that kind of information, you would end up being disappointed because it would change between now and release. Whatever I told you would change. So,
If you're a Wilkerson, you'll do what's needed to survive.
is she upstairs? I think she's upstairs. Nope. Wait, where the heck is she? Oh, there. Ah, hi. Hello, Nat.
You're gonna find us some detonators. And take that useless sack of meat with you.
Okay, but you better not double-cross me.
Oh, come on. I can handle this myself.
Like I trust you with this? She's going with you. End of story.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Brock. All right. Let's go, Brock. I'm only almost plagued. This will be fine. But yeah, so Orthaus was actually suggesting, he wasn't really looking for information on State of Decay 3. What he wanted to do was complain about State of Decay 2 and the fact that characters will not save
Just like
themselves.
that. Everybody loves me.
Sorry.
I hear you.
Dang it. Characters will not save themselves when they have the plague, and you don't get sufficient notifications to save them either. That is a problem. I agree, and I think it might even. I don't know, the fact that we don't tell you enough, we don't make it like the only thing that the game is talking about when one of your characters is about to die. That is a big problem with the game, and I agree with you. That's super annoying. So wait, where am I going? Detonators? What? Oh, all the crap over there? Okay. Do I even have the gas for that? I think I've got a gas can in the trunk, so.
Oh no. No way am I catching this blood plague bullshit. I do not want to know what makes plague territory smell this bad.
All right. So what else? I'm sure I've missed something else in the chat. Oh, for instance, like Kragan asks, do you guys have metrics that show how much players play the various modes, maps, etc., to see what's the most utilized? And if so, do you make decisions based on those metrics to focus things that are used the most, or bolster modes that are not played as much to increase engagement? Yes, we absolutely do that, Kragan. We've got a whole department of a handful of people whose full-time job it is to look at metrics for State of Decay 2 and figure out, what we can learn from them. And that actually, when people. This is not the way. Oh, actually, I'm kind of curious. I want to look at the busted bridge just because it's not busted in the Homecoming update. Yeah, so there's a way down. There's a route down that way that you can cross the bridge in Homecoming. But there's too many zombies around here. I can't just poke around. But yeah, we totally do that. In fact, that's one of the reasons why players are often players who like Daybreak are often asking us, when are you going to update Daybreak? When are you going to add new maps? When are you going to expand that mode? I kind of have to grit my teeth and go, I'm sorry, you're in the vast minority because you're playing Daybreak at all. Most people don't ever play Daybreak. And so if we're going to devote our meager resources to something, it's probably not going to be Daybreak. And I feel very apologetic about that. But I think really the mistake there isn't us not supporting Daybreak very well. In my mind, I think the mistake is us deciding back when we needed to come up with, early DLC for State of Decay 2, that we decided to make an entirely new mode. Because when you make an entirely new mode, you split the game in such a way that you now have to support two different things. Like things that we make for the core game don't apply to Daybreak, and so we have to consciously decide where our resources are going to go. Whereas if instead of Daybreak we had made something that was more integrated into the core experience, then whatever that thing is, it's part of the core experience.
You are seriously full of shit.
Louise, think about this. Is getting to know this new family worth risking your life?
Ooh,
I know
hardware
you
van.
can't understand this, but I have to know where I came from.
After we clear out the zombs and grab what we're here for, Nat'll have to respect me.
Yeah, good luck with that. But yeah, you end up sort of splitting up your game in such a way that
Kill that screamer!
everything you do is for one part of the game or the other, and you have to consciously decide whether you're going to be supporting it or not. And I think if you instead make a single, fully integrated experience, then all of the work you do applies to everything, and you don't have to make those decisions. You don't have to decide which parts of the game to actively support and which ones
What a wonderful
to
smell we've discovered.
leave alone. You get to support everything with the same effort. Okay.
Fire in the hole!
Oh, great. Of course I missed the zombies. You know what? I'm just going to preemptively cure myself. Because I'm about to get killed anyway. Okay, I thought I heard a zombie coming up on my left, but I did not. Oh, I did, though. Just on my right, I guess. Maybe I have my headphones on backwards. I actually had a weird problem for a while where I was using an adapter on my headphones that somebody engineered wrong so that it reversed the stereo. So I actually had to wear my headphones backwards in order to get good stereo. And it's really strange how you don't realize how much, when you're wearing headphones, how much you rely on stereo audio to make anything make sense. Until the stereo audio is wrong. And then suddenly nothing works. Like
Was I not supposed to do that?
I literally could not function in Call of Duty with my headphones reversed that way.
This could be a big help to us.
All right. So we have not killed everything yet. Oh, I think. Oh, wait. There's like a plague heart, isn't there? This is a plague heart. Where is the plague heart? You can see how little I've played this game because I don't know where the plague heart is.
Horses, will ya?
Oh, this is the same place where we get the Cleo core, isn't it? In Homecoming. I just realized. Seriously though, would it have killed us to put the icon for a plague heart over the actual location of the plague heart instead of just generically on the site?
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Because come on.
Shit. Maybe I better see a doctor.
So yeah, so Kraken says, hypothetically speaking, with hindsight, how would you have approached Daybreak? With everything you know now. Well, what I probably would have done... Let's see. So the point of Daybreak was to give players sort of a better defense type experience, because we knew that sort of, you know, the experience of defending your base in State of Decay 2 wasn't really what a lot of players imagine when they think of zombie defense. So we wanted to come up with a defensive mode that felt like it fully paid off sort of
I gotta rest a sec.
the promise of the genre. And so that's what Daybreak was really all about. And so what I probably would have done is put those resources... What is that? Is that the detonators? Did I get them? Put those resources into something that can be integrated into the core game. And I'm okay, so I do have the detonators, but I still have to clear all the zombies out, which I guess means clearing the plague heart? Where the crap is it, though? So yeah, so I either would have done something entirely different, or, you know, maybe we could have done something like, I don't know, like unlocks a new tier of base improvements. Oh, there we go. Hi. Like, have there be an unlockable new tier of base improvements that you could, you know, get as DLC.
Last mag in.
There we go.
Nice. Now let's find what we're looking for and beat feet out of here.
And then at the same time, for everyone,
Else had done that, I'd just shoot 'em.
improve the base defense experience. Something like that. I think something like that would have been better. So like if a player buys Daybreak, they get a new tier of things they can add to their base. But then everyone, whether they bought Daybreak or not, gets a better Siege experience.
Ah, fuck me. Here comes my fan.
I think that probably would have been a better call. But, you know, you get what you get. And the thing is, I do really enjoy Daybreak. I like it. I'm not trying to, like, badmouth. I'm not trying to badmouth Daybreak or anything like that. Okay, so I did get the laser. Okay, so this is showing the weaknesses of our mission system. I already got the detonators, but it doesn't realize I got them because I put them in the van, or put them in the car. So I got to go back to the car and grab the detonators.
Looks like I'm empty.
Okay, so get the detonators back.
No
Oh, wait.
room.
Let's drop this stuff off. Drop this and this and this.
I'm good. Hey, I found it.
Yay, I found it in my car
That's what
trunk.
I'm talking about. You know what? I like you. We should hang out.
Okay.
Thanks. Let's not rush things, okay?
So I'm going to go back because I want to... There was other stuff that I liked that was in that Plague Heart. So Kragan suggests, like, for instance, one thing we could have done is offer a new kind of mission where you can summon a Cleo drop to your base and then have to fight waves of zombies in order to obtain the drop. Yeah, totally. And sort of like, and all of that equipment, like the new Echo equipment and stuff like that we added to the game, like all of that could still have come into the game, but we could have set it up so you earned it in a different way or something like that. Like, and this is just me. I'm talking completely off the cuff. You know, like in response to the question, what would you have done differently? Like, that's the kind of thing that I currently think, you know, probably would have been a better call. But, you know, I'm not really complaining about Daybreak. I do like Daybreak, and I'm proud of Daybreak. But yeah, I think with what I've learned since, I feel like I would always want... Oh, crap. I would always want... to keep the game fully integrated with itself, basically. You know, like, you want it to be... You want to make one game. Take that, you big old stabby face. All right, there we go. At least that's my preference now, is to... Oh, wait, I've got almost no gas. I'm not making it back. My preference now is to just make one game. Decide what game you're making and make that game. Rather than, you know, trying to make every single game for every possible audience all at once. That just doesn't... That ends up being a headache for you and ultimately not all that fun for the audience. Sada Hot Pot is making fun of me for having friend-zoned Brock. Oh, hello.
Yeah, that's a horde.
Goodbye. I'm pretty proud of myself for fighting that feral. I don't need to also fight a Juggernaut. Oh, hey, look. This is where the starter base for Homecoming is. Notice that it's a giant rock pile, and there's no way anyone would actually build a base there. But whatever. We retcon it in Homecoming that there's a place for a base there. Alright, so we're going to wrap up this mission, take our stuff home, and then maybe that'll be Heartland for the day. So, Sada Hot Pot asks, so combining it with the main game mode wasn't an option? I mean, certainly after we developed Heartland, after we developed Daybreak, it was its own special thing. There wasn't really a way to integrate what we did with that into the main game. They're just very, very different from each other. But I could imagine it just a different thing, you know, that we could have done that would, because there's so many different ways. Like when you've got sort of a certain player fantasy in mind that you're trying to satisfy, there's always an infinite number of different ways you could try to satisfy it, right? And we chose one each time. Like every act of creation is a destructive act because you're deciding to make one thing and not make a million other things.
Might just clear up.
And that was the case with Daybreak. We decided to make one thing, and that means we decided not to make, you know, a million other things we could have made with the same time and resources. And, you know, I think that one of those other things would probably have been my favorite, and not the Daybreak we made. But the Daybreak we made is still kind of up there. You know, I think strategically it's not the move I would make now, but, like, the joy of playing it with Milo and seeing him really sort of... Because Milo, he's a little young to sort of grasp all of the vast complexities of you know, a huge open-world base-building game like State of Decay 2. He doesn't really know what he's doing with the game, but he understands Daybreak. Daybreak is straightforward enough that he can just grasp it. And so he and I, our best co-op experiences playing this game have been in Daybreak, because Daybreak is so straightforward. And if we had followed the strategy that I'm describing, where you just integrate a better siege experience into the core game, Milo can enjoy it, you know? And so while...
Yo, look who's not dead.
We found what you wanted. Are we done? Am I a Wilkerson now?
I see you even managed to keep that good-for-nothing Brock alive. I'm impressed.
All of this bad-mouthing Brock is just so that Brant will make the gun for him. Not really, but it's related. Anyway, before I talk to Nat, yeah, so if we had done the thing that I think would have been strategically the best, I wouldn't have had those experiences with Milo. And so, you know what? I'm kind of okay with the world we got. I think that if somebody asked me today, you know, should we make a Daybreak-like thing? I would say no. But I'm still kind of happy that I'm in the universe I'm in where we did make Daybreak. So there we go.
I know that wasn't easy, but you gotta be hard on everyone to survive out here.
Oh, yeah, so, Sata Hotpot points out that actually, with the Homecoming update, we actually did the thing I'm describing, where, you know, instead of making an independent mode, like, basically, Homecoming is to Heartland what the thing I'm describing is to Daybreak, right? It's like, we made Heartland as an independent, separate game mode. You're either playing or you're not. It doesn't relate to the main game, doesn't give you any progress in the main game. It's just its own special thing. And anything we do to upgrade the main game either has to be manually ported to Heartland, or Heartland just doesn't get it. And so Heartland needs to be explicitly supported or abandoned. And it's strategically a weird move. Whereas the Homecoming update did a very similar thing to Heartland. It, you know, brought you back to Trumbull Valley. It told a specific story. It did all that stuff, but it's integrated with the main game in a way that everything that we do to help with the main game in the future, to update the main game, to support the main game, helps Homecoming. Homecoming doesn't get left behind the way that Heartland gets left behind. And so, yeah, so I think that doing something similar with Daybreak would have been a good move. Because, and Homecoming is an example of how that can work. Because I think that, you know, players' interest in Heartland it has already flagged a lot, and it's going to continue to flag in the future. Whereas every new player who plays State of Decay 2, and even old players, will keep coming back to Homecoming because it's integrated into the core game, and there's no reason for us to sort of leave it behind. Okay, so let's give her
Well,
the
now,
detonators.
You might just be a Wilkerson after all.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
And if I'm lucky, maybe you taught that shit for brains over there a thing or two.
Hey, Larice, before you go, can we talk?
You look like you're in trouble, buddy.
You're pretty cool. You think I could crash at your place?
Absolutely, Brock.
Really? You mean it? Yes. Hey, Nat, I'm gonna go live with Larice now, okay?
If you're sure you want him, kid, he's all yours.
Now, at what point... I'm trying to remember. There's always some complexity in when a character joins the community. Because you don't want to set it up so that if a player quits... Like, if I quit right now, we don't want me to lose my opportunity with Brock. But we also...
Fuck.
Yeah.
This blood plague bullshit could really kill me.
Okay, I think he's got blood plague and I need to cure him. So let's get him home. But yeah, it's like, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong if you quit a mission partway through, because, like, our missions are not set up so you can just join them partway through very easily. And so, quitting right now, I couldn't easily come back to just this part of the mission and continue it and bring him home. But if we cancel the mission, then what happens to Brock? Do I get him? Do I not get him? And so, even though I'm getting tired, and I'm ready to take a break, I definitely want to finish this mission because I've forgotten how we solved this. I've forgotten what happens if I quit the game midstream. I know that I put a lot of work into making sure that characters in the side recruit missions, you know, that those characters, people like Isby, are recruited at the exact right moment so that you can't lose them by quitting the game. And I got a lot of bugs about that, and I made sure that they all worked. I didn't work on this mission, though. I don't know how this mission implemented it. Did they do the same thing as me? Did they not? I'm just genuinely in the dark about that. So I'm going to be very, very careful and bring Brock all the way home, verify that he's in my community, and also that he's not dying of blood plague before we quit.
Bloater ahead.
Bloater behind.
The Wilkersons gave me a place to stay, but it never felt like a home. Seriously, thank you.
Don't stress about it. And don't make me regret this.
Okay, let's drop off all the stuff I don't need. Oh, wait. Oh, those were the bullets I do need for that gun. Okay, so Brock, let's get you some cure. Because I'm pretty sure you got proper blood plague. Yep. Wait, where'd he go? I see a diamond on the map. Where the heck are you, Brock? Oh, that's Fee.
You don't have to love your neighbor.
I think I hear his voice.
Ignore them anymore.
I gotta rest a sec.
Dang it, Brock. I gotta switch to Brock now. Okay. Okay, luckily, I got a long time.
Hey, Brock.
So actually, let's
Hey, Brock.
switch
Hey,
to
you wanna
Larice,
spell me?
aid
Hi,
him,
Larice.
because there's an achievement for doing this 50 times. I'm not going to do it 50 times, but there is an achievement for it, so doing it one time does feel like it's a good use of my time. Okay.
Hi, Larice.
I'm gonna give you a shot to look good.
I need Larice
it.
to have a little break so that she can relax. So I'm going to switch to being Brock for next session. But let's have a look at the base and see what we're capable of doing here. So, what is it that Brock can do? So I can... Okay, I think I can upgrade the vehicle depot.
The best defense isn't a good offense. It's a Zed killing monster truck.
Because of
So it gets to
Larice. And so now I can make circuitry, I can craft vehicle upgrade kits, I can make advanced toolkits, and do weapon repairs like normal. I'm trying to remember. Okay, that's right. So now that I've got him, I can... What's the thing that I can build? Was it a large slot? Again, I have never really delved into this too deeply. So I can build a sniper tower. I can... fabricator shop.
Good work, people. Let's keep it up.
Dang it. Which thing can he do? I didn't actually... Yeah, so he's a chemist, right? Improve the Outlaw Chem Lab. Okay, so that's what we're trying to build, is the Outlaw Chem Lab. Where can we do that? Still, garden, farm, hydroponics. There. Oh, wait, no. No. Where the heck is it? Oh, there it is. There's the basic lab, and you need to upgrade it. I was like, okay, I knew that in my... somewhere buried deep in my head, I knew that. But I had completely forgotten. So there we go. And let's repair the kitchen. Okay, so we're making progress on getting everything leveled up here. We're going to need to get some outposts at some point. And yeah, we're not feeding our people well enough. So there's still a lot of work for me to do once I come back. But I think we've got a good start. I'm feeling good about this. So, let me have a look at the chat and see what I've missed.
Hey kid, get your ass out here. I got a job for you.
So Kragan asks, is there a different feeling to making community-requested updates come to life versus adding something that's completely new? I feel like bringing features the community's requested would be fulfilling in a way that you can more reliably expect a good response, whereas the completely new features would be out of left field with no clue how the community will react to it. So yeah, you have that is one. That is one of the sides of the trade-offs, that like when we know that the community has been asking for something, there is a sense of like positive like anticipation that goes into like, yes, we know they're gonna love this, and so I feel good imagining finishing it. So you nailed that on the head.
Some days I think we'll wipe ourselves out before the zombies get a chance.
But a lot of the time, I think that, like an important component of game development is sort of like personal creative satisfaction. You've got this vision for a game, and if people like what you've come up with so far, it's also, it feels pretty good to imagine something that they haven't asked for, that they haven't even imagined, and think, oh, they're going to absolutely love this. And there is a little bit more of a risk there. You're rolling the dice. You know that players might not react to it as well as you are reacting to your own idea. Because, your own idea always sounds great, right? And it's really hard to predict exactly whether other people are going to get into it too. But there also is something satisfying, I think, in rolling those dice and making something that's personally meaningful to you, that you think advances the game in a way that sort of satisfies your own vision of what the game should be, and then crossing your fingers and hoping that players love it. And then when it lands and they do love it, there's some extra satisfaction that comes from you having thought ahead and come up with something that other people didn't imagine, and still making it work. So yeah, both are good. I'm glad that we do both. Working on State of Decay has been one of the most creatively fulfilling things I've ever done, because we do have that really nice mix of, we know, to some degree, we know what the audience wants, and we can reliably get that sense of satisfaction, but also we have a lot of creative freedom to build the game we want to build. Okay. Oh, wait. Casey Suitcase is saying that I had said that we need to cure somebody 50 times. He says, isn't it 100? Yeah, you're right. It probably is 100. Why? Why is it 100 times? Like, okay, I can see putting an achievement that depends on you playing through both as Larice and Fiona and as Quincy and Helena. Asking players to play, if they really want to max out the game, play Heartland 2 times. That makes sense. There's no way,
Can't believe we found a base in
without
Vegas.
cheesing it, to heal people, to cure people of the plague 100 times without playing way more Heartland than makes sense. No one wants to play Heartland that much. Nobody does. So, I'm so sorry. It doesn't make any sense for that number to be 100. And those of you who have actually gotten that achievement, thank you for the sort of devotion and support of the franchise you've shown by doing so. That should not have been necessary, and I'm so sorry that you had that experience, because that is not what we should be asking people to do. We shouldn't be asking people to grind unfun parts of our game, or just like, it's not that it's not fun. Like, having the plague in the game is fun, but that one particular aspect of it, just curing someone again and again and again, that's not a fun way to play State of Decay 2. We shouldn't be pushing you to play the game in a non-fun way. That's not what achievements are for. Achievements are there to reward you for doing things that are actually, fun accomplishments, and also to push you to discover fun parts of the game that you might have missed. Those are good, valid ways to give people achievements. Trying to just get you to grind doesn't benefit us, and it doesn't benefit you. It's just a dumb thing. So, sorry for my rant, but, I really am passionate about achievement design, and that was a poor one. And it bothers the crap out of me that it's in the game. I advocated for us to fix it with the Juggernaut Edition, to fix it with Homecoming, and unfortunately, it's a live achievement. People have already put the hours into it, and so bringing it, it would be very difficult and controversial to change the requirements after it has already been earned by by a fair number of very devoted players, and it's just getting that. So we managed to get the Echo weapons one fixed, because it was literally broken, and we had a really good argument that we could change that one, but we couldn't change the cure achievements for Heartland. So I'm really sorry about that.
Hang in there, okay?
Oh, Awesome Twitch Dude wants to know if I pay for Midjourney. I absolutely do, because it is the most fun game that I have. I love Midjourney. I have so much fun with that thing. It's one of the most entertaining things that that I've got installed on my machine. And by installed, I guess I mean just I've got Discord, and I connect to it. It's the most fun thing I play with, and so yeah, I absolutely pay for it. It can get expensive, but for me, it's totally worth it. I use it all the time. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. So, One and Only Kin asks, can you have new maps? New maps! Maps are extremely expensive, and we've already got, like, 5 playable maps in the game. That was a lot. That was an awful lot of maps. I don't think you should anticipate new maps coming to State of Decay 2 anytime soon. But I understand the desire.
A badass lab. I need to work on my evil laugh.
I appreciate it.
Okay, needs practice.
All right, Brock. We're gonna make Brock go away. He's hilarious, but we're gonna make him go away. So yeah, new maps are a big deal. It's a huge mobilization every time we make a new map, and right now that's not the kind of thing that State of Decay 2 team is geared up to do. They're geared up to make systemic changes to the way the simulation functions, and so that's what they're staffed for, and that's what they're gonna be able to do. So yeah, so if there are ever new maps, it'll be because something has changed. But, you know, we gave you a lot of maps. I mean, we shipped with 3. We shouldn't have shipped with 3. That was a silly decision. We should have shipped with 1 and then released the next 2 steadily over time to sort of show our ongoing support of the game, to set a precedent early on. We shouldn't have even given you 3 to begin with. That was a nuts decision. Why did we do that? So and so then we added a 4th and 5th for free, and so I feel like we've done a lot. But you know, I understand. I'm glad that you want them. It means that you appreciate the ones that you have, and that makes me feel good. So there you go. Raneth Cord, I'm not meaning. I definitely am not meaning to denigrate the efforts of people who have actually played as much Heartland as you and some folks have. I'm just saying, if you actually enjoy it, if you feel like you're getting something out of it, great. I love it. I'm so glad that you love this mode, and it makes me very happy. But I think when we are deciding what we are asking people to do, what we imply we expect people to do is different from what people choose to do. And if somebody chooses to play a lot of Heartland because they want to, that's wonderful. That means that we made something that connected with them, and that's great. It's when we put the implication in that we expect people to grind something that it feels like we're showing a degree of disrespect to players that I think is not appropriate. So, you know, I consider that I consider that to have been a mistake. Anyway, Casey Suitcase says, making it even 6 maps, okay? Deal. We'll say, how about I keep working on the thing I'm working on instead? How does that sound? All right. And Cogs is saying what we should do instead of adding new maps is just make the maps annotatable, like in Project Zomboid. Noted. And with that, let's wrap this up. So, there's a subscribe button. Here are links to other videos. And the next time I play Heartland, I'm going to stick the video right there. And again, I'm planning on seeing this game mode all the way through. So let's see how that goes.